Said 8,000 violent protesters are expected to take part in rallies. Hamburg police have taken preparations for the summit very seriously. 20,000 officers will be deployed and 2 special security zones have been set up in the city. Well, let's now cross live to our guest, Bruno Kramm, who's the chairman of the Berlin branch of the Pirate Party, to discuss this further. Welcome to the programme, Mr. Kramm. So why are people so angry about the G20 gathering?
Well, this is having a long tradition. As you might know, that on all G20 summits, there had been always massive protests wherever they were happening. There is movements like ATTAC, which were founded because of G20. Basically, we live in times of globalization where we can see everywhere a growing nationalism, and international cooperation is extremely important. But instead of discussing these things, people are starving around the world. The climate change is affecting into more and more people running away from their homes, being refugees. There's many wars. There is so many weapon exports from the richer countries. And so far, this globalism is only working with neoliberal elements, while the people are asking for more participation and for more change with effects into their normal life. And this is about solidarity mainly.
Well, you say these G20 protests happened every year. This year it's a little bit different because activists have even created a special platform called Welcome to Hell, the slogan under which these demonstrations are going to take place. Let's just show our viewers. Let's have a look.
Menschen, die hungern und Kinder im Bunker. Neuer Ball Hamburg, lebt voll Klunker. Gießt diese Ordnung in Zement und ihr wundert euch wirklich, warum es brennt. Hamburg, meine Perle, Pflaster, Stein und Scherbe. Welcome to the Hellside.
Now, if we take this video as a reference, it looks like a pretty violent scene. Do you think that the protests will be equally as violent? Is this what we can expect?
Well, of course, the protesters got also more professional and use all channel of social networks and use more campaigning methods and all that. And of course, it might become much more radical because the police is also doing a big, huge mistake by escalating everything quite in the beginning, showing a really hard line. And this is basically what the protesters are not accepting. We have freedom of speech in our country, and we have the right to demonstrate and together to express our unhappiness with the current situation. And this is what people do. Of course, this year there is coming from all over Europe a lot of protesters. And this is also an effect and expression of the total imbalance inside of Europe. There is many countries who are terribly suffering. Look into Greece, look into Spain, because of European economic neoliberal politics, which are mostly driven, of course, of Germany. So we have to eat this soup.
And do you think protesters are going to be successful in disrupting the G20 summit?
Well, the question is always what you call success. Of course, it will divide the society even more if there happens too many riots and brutal situations, because in German media, when you show them just like protesters who are destroying shops and burning down cars, then of course the understanding for the main important things of these protests will be not so big. So I only can always ask everybody to stay peaceful and just protest for the one thing what we really need in this world, it's solidarity.
And what are you expecting from security there? Do you think the measures are going to be tightened, considering the threats from the protesters?
Yeah, it will be quite tight, and you saw it. You were just a few minutes ago having a report about how the Hamburg police was sending back the special forces from Berlin because they were a little bit hard partying there. But basically, they have a really strict agenda this year. For example, it was decided that the protesters can stay with their camp inside of a park. And of course, they have to overnight there because most of these protesters are young people. They cannot afford the massive expensive hotel prices of Hamburg. Nobody was thinking of that. Suddenly, it's not allowed to them to overnight in their tents. And without any reason, they were just taking away all the demonstrators and their right to be in these in this park. And basically, this is a kind of escalation which definitely will lead into the wrong direction, because in the past we have always seen the best way for the police is always to de-escalate, to show that the police is not only helping saving the right of G20 summits and politicians, it is also saving the right of freedom of speech and the right of demonstration. And therefore, it would be much more better to be more de-escalative on the whole situation.
OK, on that note, Bruno Kramm, chairman of the Berlin branch of the Pirate Party, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.